Hello everyone, it's 5 AM. Today I will be making the journey from Manchester to Cincinnati. It's gonna be a long one, wish me luck. This was an 8:40 flight from Manchester to London. Eventually I'd be heading on my way to Cincinnati after about a 4 or 5 hour layover. Pretty long. Hello and welcome to Terminal 3. Now on approach, DBA check-in was incredibly busy. We got there 2 hours before because it was a domestic flight. Everywhere else was relatively quiet, and unusually we were split up into check-in and people who've already checked in. It was actually faster not to check in and go straight to the counter. People who checked in had to wait a lot longer. That's quite the ordeal. 40 minutes to check in. See how it goes. Onto the flight security. As I entered security, I wondered, why did British Airways use Terminal 3? The worst terminal in Manchester Airport. All I could think of is, it's probably cheaper. All in all, about an hour, 10 minutes. No time for the lounge. Because there was no time for the lounge, it was time for me to go queue up for the flight. And this was our plane today, a 15-year-old A320. A little dated, but really nice on the inside. Thank you. Walking through this ghastly tunnel, pink tunnel of terror, the excitement started to build. Now as I got on the plane, I tapped it for good luck. You have to do it. It was a very busy flight over to London, fully sold out. In the queue I heard everyone was flying over to the US, so that clearly makes sense. But there was not an empty seat in the house, and I was lucky I was able to get the window seat. And as you can see, the leg room, it was average. Honestly, if it was longer than an hour, I would be very uncomfortable in this seat, but because it was just on like a 40-minute flight, 1 hour. And before I knew it, the engines were raring to go, and we were taking off. On this flight, it was a relatively simple meal service, a water and a Kellogg's breakfast bar. But, you know, I can't complain. And before you've even realised, we're already landing in Heathrow Airport. It's a tremendously fast flight. Blink and you're already there. On this flight, there was nothing to shout home about. It was simple, it did the job, you got a bottle of water and a snack. But the leg room really leaves something to be desired for me, a 6'1" man.
Thank you guys.
Now this was a relatively normal September midweek day. It was absolutely gorgeous outside, as you'll see in a second. Arriving into Terminal 5 today, I didn't realise it would be absolutely heaving with people. Now I always loved Terminal 5, and for this reason I chose to do a 6-hour layover today. But when there's this many people, it really does take away from how beautiful it really is. And unfortunately, it already feels like Terminal 5 is at capacity. And for a new airport like this, that's really not great. It's absolutely rammed, busy. Yeah. So many people. I arrived Manchester to London. I have a 6-hour layover now. I thought I'd spend that layover. I'd go to the lounge, turn up. I can't go to the lounge. I have to turn up 3 hours before. So now I'll entertain myself. And what does one do when they have a 6-hour layover and nothing to do? Why, you go to the Harry Potter shop, of course. And after checking out all the Harry Potter merch and the squidgy owl, I got immensely bored and decided to go to the B and C gates. I'm so bored, I decided to walk from B gates to C gates. 10-minute walk, there and back. Maybe I'll get to the lounge eventually. I'll do a 6-hour layover. And after some plane spotting, I was finally allowed into the lounge to read Dune, a book I've been reading for the past 2 years. This Club Aspire lounge is not the best, but this was truly the highlight. The little pancake machine where you had to wait a good 30 seconds, but in the end, it was all worth it. For gorgeous little pancakes. Wow, truly a piece of art. And after witnessing this truly majestic piece of art, it was time for me to leave this absolutely heaving lounge, and I mean heaving. There was people everywhere. Now would I come back to this Club Aspire lounge? Probably not, I can't lie. The food wasn't spectacular. Chili, rice, pancakes that took 40 seconds. But you can see by this queue, thank you, they're never short on clientele, so I guess my absence won't be missed. Now going to the B and C gates, you have to take a little escalator down the stairs. And as you can see, everyone is sprinting to the train that's arriving. Now you could of course walk through the walkway. Whoa, Jesus. Just like everyone else, I today decided I was a little too lazy for them, and I'll take the train. Packing up like sardines. It didn't feel the best, I'll be honest, but it's definitely an experience that you have to experience in Heathrow Terminal 5. Now I think whilst watching this you have to remember that each of these rides takes about 10 minutes on foot, so there is a real good reason that this train is here. Arriving at the B and C gates, you get a real appreciation for how quiet this side of the airport is. it feels like it's truly your terminal. And I would recommend, as you go up the escalators, take a look out the windows. The views are perfect. As you go up to ground level, the aircrafts are huge. You get a real sense of the scale of these aircrafts. And this A350 in front of us is probably my favourite aircraft in the world right now, and it was a true dream of mine to see that.
C gate. It's far quieter here than on A and B gates. No one here. Go to top tip. Go to Starbucks here, not A gates. Much better. Train's rapid as well. It'll only take you a couple of minutes.
British Airways departure to Nashville.
Our gate. Wow. British Airways A380. Wow. So cool.
And before we knew it, it was time to board our magnificent British Airways 787-9. Now what I wasn't expecting was what felt like this 10-kilometer walk to the airplane. And it was also incredibly hot.
It's boiling.
Now I did speed it up a bit, but these corridors, honestly, they felt like they were never ending. And I know I sound like I'm moaning. I'm not. But this is the longest I've ever walked to an aircraft. And as you can see, I have sped up this clip a little bit. But as you go around the corner, the end was in sight. The race was over. I was ecstatic. Immediately upon boarding, you could tell this flight wasn't very busy. The return leg was actually full, no seats. But the leg over to Cincinnati, plenty of seats, plenty of rows. You could have as much space as you wanted. So therefore, I wasn't that sad that I wasn't in business class this time. But as you can see, pretty empty flight. Now upon booking my seat, I didn't realise that I was choosing a seat basically without the window. That was a little bit of a disappointment, but the legroom, honestly, not terrible. Now after nearly breaking my neck for about 10 minutes trying to look out the window, I decided it was time to switch it up a bit. I went to the very back row, right near the toilets, but I didn't mind.
It's worth the switch.
The IFE entertainment honestly wasn't too bad. Had quite a few choices, some things that interested me, but there was only one thing on my mind at this time, and that was, do they have Harry Potter? Of course they did, it's British Airways. Before loading up for Harry Potter, I decided, let's just watch out the window as we take off. Now as you can see, it was a very busy day at Heathrow today. Big queues, slight delays. I think we were delayed a couple of minutes on this flight, but before I knew it, we were lining up for the runway. This is the point at which I thought, you know, let's watch some movies. But, lucky me, it didn't work. There goes my Harry Potter evening. Hey ho, what better way to cheer yourself up than with a speciality Brewdog British Airways beer. Please don't judge. It's very foamy, but it was very nice. Can't complain. A star. And for dinner, it was a really nice peri peri chicken. Honestly, no complaints. 5 out of 5. Well, while finishing my peri peri chicken, I looked around the cabin. You can clearly see this cabin has clearly seen better days.
Toilet. Clean. Great. Slightly cramped, but overall, looked after. No complaints.
At this point, the cabin crew decided to dim all the lights, which I get, but at the end of the day, I want control of that feature. Don't lock it. And finally, on approach to Cincinnati. We were cruising over Canada, and the excitement started to build. On approach. Leaving the flight tired overall, I felt positive. The flight wasn't full. If it was full, it would have been a different experience. But still, I was rested, I was fed. It did feel like the crew did go missing for large chunks of this flight, and the cabin was showing some wear and tear. But those are the only negatives I can really point out right now. That's it. It's my journey. Thank you. My bag. Baggage claim simply went on without any hiccups, and I went on into the city. Overall, would I fly British Airways again? Yes. This flight today cost around £572, in line with the competition from American and Delta, which connect in the US. The difference being, this connects in London, and it's basically direct for me. And I booked this flight with Avios today, and it was most definitely worth it for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.